And we are live. Welcome to episode, I believe it was 47. I
47.
lost track. 47 of the RetroSlot podcast. This week, we'll be talking about Gradius, some retro gaming news, a lot of stuff from Nintendo that we didn't get to last week.
Mm-hmm.
And, regular bullshit.
What do you mean, Briar? We're 100% gaming 100% of the time.
That is false.
Short week. You were just telling me about you just came in hot from a photo shoot.
Coming in hot. You know, so here's the thing. This is the thing that drives. I'm an on-time person. I'm a punctual person. Not you. That is common among content creators. I have found not the most punctual people you'll ever meet. As
throwing
a group,
shade passively here.
As a group, I'm just gonna say, content creators not the most. You know, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, right? They don't have to wake up at a certain time. They don't have to be in meetings. Like, you don't really have to build that skill set to be a successful content creator, right?
Sure.
But I am a punctual person. One of the things that drives me crazy, because I think, like, I show up everywhere early, and then like awkwardly early, actually, to the point where I'll often have to sit in my car and like listen to a podcast because I'm so early. I can't possibly go in right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you're having a party at your house and you say it starts at 7, there's a good chance I'm sitting outside your house at like 6:45.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
You're like our worst nightmare because we're cleaning our house up to 7:05.
Yeah. Most people are. That's why I've learned to just sit out in the car, wait for somebody else to come.
You guys just like knock on the door. You guys need any help with anything? Can I help set up? Like,
it's so awkward to show up early to a party. You should never ever show up early to a party. Ever. Because
this is the correct answer.
You are 100% in the way. Like, even if you like ask, can I help with anything? No. Get the fuck out of here, man. But the thing that drives people like me the most crazy is when people show up late, and then that puts stress on me, right? So what's happened today was I was doing my thing. I was doing a photo shoot, and it was a football team. For anybody that doesn't know, I do sports photography. So like a whole football team will come. I'll take all the individual shots, like action shots, and then we do like a big team picture. But obviously everybody's got to be there for the team picture. So today we were waiting on just one kid, and normally the coach will be like, fuck this kid, let's take the team picture, we got shit to do, we're not going to just wait and wait for this one late kid, right? And it's not even the kid's fault if you think about it. It's the parents' fault, right? And it's not even their fault. Maybe they got stuck at work, maybe they got, who knows, maybe they got 4 kids, who knows what the fuck's going on in their life. I don't get pissed about it, but the coach is like bitching at me, like, I can't believe this, I just want to practice, like, we're stuck doing these pictures. I'm like, dude, I will take this picture whenever the fuck you want. Like, I was here on time. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is not my fault.
Christian to the choir, yelling at the messenger. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Anyhow, yeah, I am a habitually early person, and my wife is a habitually late person. And the biggest fight we ever got into in our entire marriage was when she found out that I was telling her that things started 30 minutes before they actually started. And I was doing it for like 2 years. So, like, if we were going to like a concert,
I might have to use that.
Don't do it.
Well, to be fair, I put on our calendar, like, just, every other Tuesday I have it as podcast day.
Yeah.
I say it starts at 3. Because that's when I like want to make sure that she knows that I'm like not available.
Yes.
Because I have to like prep and stuff, right? And get things
that makes sense.
done. I don't want to be. She's like, oh, it starts at 4, so you can watch the kids till 3:55. No,
till 4:15.
I love you, but no. So fortunately, I don't think maybe like once. Both of us have been late to this, like once each, I think. That's good. But normally, like, anybody that hangs out in our community on our stream knows that I'm habitually late, and my wife is habitually late. Whenever we go anywhere with our 2 kids, it's like 45 minutes late, like
DCP never starts before like 20 minutes after the hour, right? It's like
herding
so
cats.
late that it became like a joke. I used to show up half an hour before the show would start and just be sitting there like waiting.
Because you guys do the, Discord, like, pre-show stuff too for your, like,
Yeah.
patrons and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, it used to. We don't do that anymore.
Okay,
We
okay.
stopped doing it. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Content
for those
creators, not on time people. Not punctual people. None of them. It's like
for the
across the
international
board.
listeners, football means hand egg, yeah?
Hand egg, yes. Hand egg.
Yeah.
the great American sport of concussions.
Oh. Oof. Oofta.
A lot less
Yeah,
kids playing that game these days than a few years
it's
ago.
true. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't allowed to play football growing up. It was, like, the one sport that I wasn't allowed to play. Just, I did baseball, soccer,
Mm.
basketball, golf, tennis, like,
You did
literally
golf
everything.
in like as a child?
I did like 7th, 8th grade, I did some lessons. I think it was more just like it's summer, give him something to do. We're gonna get you into
Sure.
golf lessons. My parents were always like, get him out of the house, sign him up for activities, like anything and everything. So yeah, I kind of did a little bit of everything.
I tried
Um,
that, but I was wildly unsuccessful with my
well,
kids.
no, I wasn't good at
Wildly.
any of that stuff, really.
No.
I loved basketball. That was like my one love, but I'm 5'7". Like any team I ever tried out for, they're like, nope. It
Yeah.
didn't matter unless it was like intramural or whatever. But
Did you see the And One documentary that just hit
I
Netflix?
haven't yet. I saw it that's on there and I want to check it out because that's
It's
like
pretty good.
probably the era that I was into it, like mid late 90s, early
Yeah.
2000s was when I was really into it.
It was a pretty hot scene. I don't know how the kids say that anymore. It was the in thing,
It's lit.
and it just disappeared. And I always kind of wondered, whatever happened to And One? They just kind of, and this explains it. It's a pretty
Hmm,
good documentary.
nice. Fortunately, with drumming and drum corps and drumline and stuff, height requirements weren't really a thing. It was just like more mental than it was. Well, not more mental than physical, but it was both.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, retro news.
Yeah. You got a discussion topic though.
Yeah, this is true. So last night on stream, a lot of times I do. This is actually the very first question of the day I ever did on stream, like 6.5 years ago. Was what's your favorite pizza topping?
Yeah. That's a tough question. There's a lot of
Last
thought
night,
that needs to go into that.
yeah, I've had other questions like what's your favorite pizza crust? What's your favorite pizza sauce?
Pizza crust.
Last like stuffed crust, thin crust, regular crust,
Okay.
deep
Okay.
dish. Like there's a
Sure.
lot of them.
Yeah, there are. Actually, now that you
Stone
mix,
brick pizza.
that's
Uh,
gross.
you don't like whoa, 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 whoa. You don't like the stone cooked pizza crust? With a little bit of
I
like char on the bottom? You
I
don't like dirt
misunderstood
on your
actually.
pizza?
I misunderstood. I thought you meant like the stone. I don't actually know what this is called. It's like a stone bread where the bread is actually hard like rock.
No, like the
Okay.
stone kiln pizza oven things that
No, I'm sure
usually end
that's
up
fine.
having
Yeah.
it has like the dust on the bottom of the crust, it gives it some
Yeah.
texture.
Like a brick oven pizza.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
They have a
delicious.
very specific like texture and taste and crunch and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, but last night it was what's your favorite specialty pizza? Some, like somebody
Toppings
said
though. I mean, you could go 100 different ways with toppings. You go like fresh mozz. You get like shredded mozz on most pizza, but when you get like fresh mozz, like the round,
oh yeah, yeah,
wonderful,
yeah.
fresh.
Like margarita.
Yeah. Oh, that's delicious. You know, the Hawaiian pizza always a classic, right? Hated on the internet, but actually
So,
delicious.
what about pepperoni and pineapple? Have you tried that before?
I don't think I have, but I could see it being good.
It is superior to Canadian bacon or to
Okay.
Hawaiian because lunch meat on pizza is weird. Like the ham on pizza is never great. It's just literally that thin ham that you take a bite of it and it
Yeah,
doesn't.
the
It's
pineapple's
like
really stealing the
rubbery.
show here.
It's just never look.
I
I
think the ham
love
is only there for the salt, right? You just want the salt so you get the salty and the sweet, right?
so pepperoni and pineapple is It is superior. For anybody who's never tried it,
I
you
will
should
give
try
that a
it.
shot.
Yes,
I'm
I
glad to
don't
hear
like.
you're not a pineapple on pizza hater, because
No,
those
no, no. I
people are
like it. I
legion.
like it.
But
I
their
not too
depth
much.
of knowledge is very thin. I don't think most of them even tried it. Honestly, I think these people are speaking from a place of ignorance and judgment and hate.
Exactly. I don't want it to be the primary flavor, but a little bit, like 4 or 5 pieces per slice, maybe.
Yeah,
Nothing crazy.
yeah, it's just a little sweet. It's good. It's a
Just a little
nice.
bit
I don't
of
want it
just
every time
yeah,
I would have
yeah,
pizza. Just sometimes, every once in
yeah.
a while. It's
So
good.
two-parter question. If you had to
Yeah.
choose only one topping for your pizza, what would it be?
Like only one
Like
forever. Like
other than cheese, sauce
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
stuff.
Like the
What would be the
standards.
one topping you'd get forever if you only could have one?
Think it would be Greek olives. You know, the ones
Okay.
that
The
the
green
big
ones?
ones. No, the black ones. They're big
Okay,
black
those are Greek
olives.
olives.
Yeah, yeah. The big black ones with the pits in them, but you take the pit out,
Yeah,
obviously.
those are just
But,
black
oh,
olives.
no, not the regular black olives. The big, really salty ones.
Oh, the pickled ones? Okay, those are usually
Yeah,
they're like
it's good
dark
ones.
green. I guess sometimes they're like blackish purplish.
Yeah, yeah. Those
Yeah,
are
I know what you're talking about.
delicious, and
Yeah, they are.
I think that's my favorite thing to be on a pizza. But you don't see it on many menus. You
No.
see black olives all the time. Those are whatever, take them or leave them. But when you see somebody put like specify Greek olives, you're like, okay, I'm taking note. I'm standing up for this pizza.
I'll
Well done,
agree.
sir.
I mean, those are delicious, and I'll tell you why. We go to Costco occasionally, and Costco has these like garlic, what are they? Garlic feta olives, where they're like stuffed in the Greek
Okay.
olive, and you get a big old jar of it. And they also have like you can get like, pesto, like ground pesto in a jar, and we do like frozen pizzas, and we'll just kind of blob some of the pesto on and then chop the little stuffed olives up into tiny pieces and kind of like put it around the pizza and put it in, and that like salty vinegary kick that you get from those olives is
Yeah,
it's great.
it is great.
So you should try those from Costco if you ever go to Costco.
Okay. I think we have a Costco. It's either Costco or BJ's. I don't really know, actually. It's one of those big box stores with like a
Mhm.
lot of shit. You get like a 7-pound jar of mayonnaise.
You 50-gallon tub of lube.
Yeah.
You those exist. Look on Amazon. Not cheap, by the way. Yeah, you could probably get those at the regular grocery store. Okay, so then second question.
Wait, what's your
Uh,
one though? What's your one?
my one would probably be pepperoni. I'm boring. If I could only
Pepperoni?
get one, just like I feel like you can never go wrong with a pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, I would agree. Like the worst pepperoni on a pizza isn't that bad,
Right.
but the best it can be like outstanding. So it is good. It's a solid choice. Solid choice.
Yeah. I mean, the worst pizza you'll ever have is still delicious pizza.
Maybe. I disagree a little bit.
And the right, like, like a $2 frozen pizza when you've had a few beers with your buddies,
Yeah.
like, who's gonna
Well,
turn that down?
once you add a few beers in, then like basically anything off the street is probably pretty good.
Look, I relate pizza that you may not choose otherwise, this might get me in trouble, uh, to, when you're a teenager and or you're younger or you're single or whatever, and you don't have relations very often, uh, if it's being offered to you, you're not gonna get picky about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, as a teenager, it's the funniest thing. Guys, as a teenager, will be like, "Yo, that girl has this going on. I would never." I'm like, "Bullshit. If she offered to you, you can't tell me that you wouldn't go for it. Like, come
If
on." It's the
she
same with
offers you the
pizza.
deep dish, you're eating
Yeah. No, but like if somebody brought some trash barrel pizza, like, yeah, I'll have a slice or two. Like you're not gonna turn it down.
it. I
I
ran
don't know.
into an issue with Domino's pizza where I was pretty sure that I was having some kind of reaction to it that was giving me migraines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, I can't 100% say because I just said, well, if Domino's Pizza is causing me migraines, I'm just going to stop eating Domino's Pizza. And the migraines did stop.
Hmm.
So I will not eat Domino's Pizza. I haven't eaten Domino's Pizza in like, I don't know,
Yeah.
30 years.
I mean, it's a lot of processed stuff going on there. Could be like
Yeah.
MSG, salt, something.
Who knows?
Okay, so if you could choose one like specialty pizza or like all of the toppings you'd want on a pizza, what
Like,
would you go
just
for?
like custom make the pizza.
Or yeah, custom make it or like specialty, like a taco pizza or something, chicken bacon ranch.
Taco
What's your
pizza's pretty fun.
go-to? Yeah, it is. As long as there's not too much lettuce and tomato and shit.
Yeah. I also don't like when they cook it with the lettuce and tomato on it. I want the lettuce and tomato added afterward.
Cold, yeah.
Yes. Because it's weird. Don't be
Wilted
weird.
lettuce. Tomatoes can be good cooked. Lettuce not so much.
Agreed. God, what like my go-to? I'm definitely if I'm in a place that offers fresh mozz, I'm going fresh mozz, some meat choice and some veggie choice because I like both. And I'm gonna include mushrooms in as a veggie, even though it's not a veggie; it's a fungi. But I like mushrooms. I like mushrooms.
Mm-mm. This is where we'll have to disagree. You can have all of them. I'll pick mine off and I'll put them on yours.
I don't want your hand-me-down mushrooms. You can keep them. Just put them on the side of your plate.
Yeah,
please, you
no,
disgusting bastard.
sometimes people will be like, I really want mushrooms. I'm like, all right, I'll pick them out. Like, it's whatever. As long as they don't put too much cheese over
They're
them.
not something that like anchovies will infect the flavor of the entire pizza, right?
Sure.
Mushrooms more absorb flavor than they do provide their own flavor.
It's just that mushy, rubbery texture.
The texture, yeah.
Mm. Okay.
I got a friend who loves taking mushrooms, like magic mushrooms, but he
Okay.
almost throws up every time he eats them.
Oh.
Man, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze here, man. Like, maybe just try a different drug.
Yeah. Edibles or something.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, there's tons of stuff out there. Brave new world, man.
I like trying new types of pizza, but if I had to go with like one interesting pizza that wasn't just like straight pepperoni, I am always whenever I have something like a sun-dried tomato, feta, Greek olive, like kind of
That
the
sounds good.
more weird
The
pizzas.
Mediterranean.
Yeah, something like that, maybe with like a olive oil based sauce or a pesto sauce, something like that. Something more like non-traditional.
Yeah,
I
that sounds
usually
great.
like a stone a stone oven pizza
My
always
standard
enjoy that.
answer to what do you want on your pizza is whatever you want, man. Like, I'm
No,
cool.
I want
Like,
you to tell me because I am indecisive. I can't make decisions for myself.
but I like trying new things on pizza, so I want other people to order what they like, and then I get to try it.
Yeah. This is
Oh,
true.
if you're indecisive, you're gonna hate going to a restaurant with me because I want to be the last person who orders at the table every time. Because not
Oh, that
only
sounds good. Yeah.
not only not only do I want to know what everybody orders, but I'm afraid that I will get buyer's remorse when I see other people get something better than what I got. So I need to hear what everybody ordered. And if I miss it, like if I'm in a conversation with you and somebody across the table has ordered, I'll be like, I'm sorry, what did you just order?
Excuse me. Stop talking. Stop talking. Stop.
Hold up.
Oh man, I feel that. No, I hung out with a buddy of mine in Seattle at PAX, and he's very decisive. He's like, "What do you feel like eating for food?" I'm like, "I just whatever." He's like, "Well, there's this, this, and this." I'm like, "What sounds good to you?" He's like, "We're doing this." I'm like, "Perfect."
Cool. Perfect.
It was much faster than my wife and I spending 20 minutes trying to figure out where the hell we're gonna go to eat.
Yeah. See, I could be decisive. If you ask me where I want to go, I'll tell you where I want to go. But I'd like to hear what you want because maybe like it's something I've never tried or like I'm always up for trying new things. I like trying new things. It's
I
way
do
more
too.
fun than eating the same thing over and over again. That's why I don't like Chinese food. Because I always eat the same fucking thing over and over
Yeah.
again. Like
Yeah.
if I went with somebody who knew what the fuck they were talking about, I would love it because they could, get
might
something
like this, you
besides
might
beef
like
and
this.
broccoli or General Tso's chicken.
Kung Pao chicken.
Yeah.
Do you have this problem with your wife too, where she'll say, "Oh, I don't care where we go," and then you pick something, and she's like,
Nah, I don't feel like that. Yeah.
That happens a lot.
That's not a wife thing. I do the same thing to her.
Okay,
I don't care where you want to go. Well, how about this place? I don't feel like Italian.
You gotta tell me that beforehand. Now
that
I'm
is
like,
that is
now I'm
not a
committed.
sex-based problem. That is
It's a
that
spousal problem.
yeah, that goes across genders.
My wife's like texting me right now as it stands. She's like
Are
asking
you in
me
trouble?
questions. I'm like,
Oh.
I'm busy.
Have you ever gotten in trouble
Love you, honey.
based on something you said while you thought you weren't being heard in your office?
Oh, she sometimes will be up watching TV for a little bit late while I'm starting stream. And
Yeah.
she'll like text me responses to things that I say. I'm like, oh no, she's listening. This is unfortunate. Or sometimes she'll be like, what on earth are you talking about? I'm like, don't pay attention to the weird guy in the mirror behind the curtain.
I used to get in trouble more often, but I think that my family's used to it now.
Yeah. I had her. I don't know if you ever saw the weird spoons thing that we do on stream, the weird effect
Yeah.
stuff. She streamed on our channel on Sunday and I had her do that. She's like, "What is this? What is going on? Why am I doing this?" It's great. Great. All right. That's our favorite pizza topping. I think we started. You remember when we talked about them redoing the Goldeneye trademark a long time ago? This is like a
Yes.
year ago.
Yes. I feel like this is an
So,
ongoing story, right? Like this is
right, like how many times have we brought up Goldeneye?
a lot.
It's coming to Nintendo Switch and Xbox Game Pass with one caveat. It's only online with Nintendo and it's local
Yeah.
only with Xbox.
It's
So
also
Game
it's
Pass,
two versions of the game. It's two different
right?
versions of the game.
The
The
Xbox
old
one is
version is the Nintendo version is the original version of the game, but with online play added. The Xbox
awesome.
version is the remade version of the game, similar to the version that got kind of leaked about a year ago, 2 years ago.
Mhm.
But that's got no online play.
Local only.
Yeah. So that must be what was holding it up, right? Nintendo must have been stickler for this. That's the only thing I can think of. Because that's a major bummer, right? Because the newest version of the game is the one you want to play, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it was probably never in the game, so they would have to like actually develop that from scratch, likely.
Well, that's what they
The
did
online
though, is
part.
they put it in the old version of the game. The new version of the game, which was completely rebuilt, had online play, but they
Oh, it
had
did?
to. Well, yeah, I mean that
361 did?
that one that the one that leaked did, and they had to take it out for this release, probably because of Nintendo's lawyers. I mean,
Oh,
look,
sure.
the original version of GoldenEye was fantastic for the time, but that control scheme is so antiquated. Like it just doesn't make sense anymore to like a modern gamer who's used to twin stick shooters. And that was what's so cool about the remake is that they're taking the spirit of this game, they're taking the level design, they're taking the weapons, like, and they're updating it, with modern graphics ish and
It
modern
looks
control
fairly clean.
schemes. Yeah. Modern control schemes, but not to get online play means like it'll still be fun to like run through it, but to not get online play on like the newer version is a real bummer, I think.
I wonder if there's well, it's only split screen. So I wonder if it's 4-player split screen or just 2. I didn't look.
Yeah. I'm not sure actually if Nintendo added like a new modern control scheme, because if they did, like that would be a pretty good kind of second place prize.
We'll have to see if you can like change any of the controls on the like pro controller and stuff either.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they just kind of put in like kind of modern twin stick controls to the.
They have to.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice if they did, because playing Goldeneye again with like my friends who I used to play Goldeneye with back in the day, it's entirely possible. They all have Switches, or their kids do,
Right. And it's probably just going to be part of the expansion pack, maybe? Did they
It
talk
is. It
about?
is. It's
Yeah,
part of the
okay.
expansion pack.
Yeah. If you already have it.
Yeah,
That's cool. Did they say when it was coming out? I didn't put that on there.
I'm sure they did, and I don't unfortunately know the answer to that
Hold on.
question. um, but yeah, it's a little sad that the newer version is going to get online play, and the new version is going to be on Game Pass too. So anybody with Game Pass is going to be able to play that, which is fantastic.
It just says coming soon. Okay, so I didn't drop the ball.
Because the single player Goldeneye, besides the multiplayer, which was so fun, the single player game of that was pretty fun as well.
Yeah, it was solid.
Yeah, it was good. Like, it had a lot of different mission objectives. It really had you doing a bunch of different stuff. It was really, I feel like, the moment that Rare stepped onto the main stage as a developer and really kind of, grabbed everybody's attention.
Right. They and it had. Do you remember there was like all those secret parts of the missions, like achievements,
Yeah.
off the main mission? You get all that. And I was it. Did you get the golden gun or something? Or you got new characters or something like that? Do you
You
remember?
definitely unlock new characters.
Yeah.
It's been so long, honestly, that I don't remember exactly, but it did reward you for trying to beat the higher difficulties
I think
with
that was a
like
big part of
in-game
its
unlocks.
replayability and enjoyment, to be honest, for me.
Yeah, I really like
I
the
even
campaign. I was big on Bond at the time. That was the '90s. I was big on James Bond, and I thought Goldeneye the movie was pretty good. So being like the game really kind of mirrored the movie pretty well.
Mhm.
It was good. It was fun.
Yeah, even the trailer for the Nintendo Switch version looked like they cleaned it up a bit.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's not like a straight port from N64. It looks like they at least I don't know if they up-res it a little bit or just cleaned up a bit of the edges.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they added a control scheme. It'd be nice to get like a modern control scheme because that
They must.
that,
They
that
must.
old control scheme was so. At the time, you learned it because we had never played Halo, we had never played Call of Duty at that time. So playing a first-person shooter on a gamepad was like, okay, we'll give this a shot. I mean, if you'd been playing on PC, then you were used to playing Doom or Wolfenstein or whatever, but for console kids, this was it. This was like the big first one.
And if I remember correctly, it was inverted only aiming.
Really?
Or could you
Maybe
change
that's
it?
what broke me in my head. It's because I still use inverted aiming when I use a control stick.
Yeah. I think I remember it being inverted only, but it was like really early shooter for
Yeah,
console anyways.
yeah. I mean, it was the first real big one. There was ones that came out before it, but this was the one that hit.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot on PC, but just not on consoles yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, PC was totally different. Like, there's all sorts of cool shit happening on PC with a mouse and keyboard too. So it's like it
Right.
controlled
Right.
well.
Yeah. Um So, to that effect, talking about Nintendo Switch Online, the expansion pack, and this information got released like last Tuesday, the day of the last podcast, and I was just
Yeah,
like, all right, we should wait till next week to talk about this. They're bringing out some more N64 games, and some of them are really good. So, at, by the end of 2022, Pilot Wing 64, Mario Party 1 and 2 are coming out, and then they said early 2023, Mario Party 3, Pokemon Stadium 2, 1080, and Excite Bike, which if you haven't played 1080 or Excite Bike, those are two of my favorite N64
I've
games.
never played Excite Bike.
It's solid. So
Yeah,
you're behind the driver, and it's more of a motocross style game. It's less like just like racing, but it is still a racer. And if I remember correctly, there was like modes where you could do kind of like freestyle type stuff where it wasn't racing. You could just kind of explore. It's been a long time, but it was different. Like there wasn't really any other 3D motocross games that existed, at least not on Nintendo. I'm sure PlayStation
yeah.
had some, but I really enjoyed that game.
I'll try that out. 1080
10
was mind
I
blowing.
loved 1080. 1080 was
The
one of my favorites.
I could still play 1080. When I bought an N64 a couple of years ago, like rebought an N64. The
Mhm.
first game I really wanted to get was 1080 because the feel of that game, the way your character like kind of carved corners, just felt so fucking good.
Did
It's a
you
good
play
game.
Amped? Did you play Amped on the
Yeah,
Xbox? Yeah.
yeah.
Amped 1 and 2 were amazing, and then 3 turned it into SSX Tricky for snowboarding, which I was like, Uh, I remember specifically with 1080, I remember the moment that I was done with it. Like, I had beaten everything, And the moment where I was standing at the top of the hill, they're like 3, 2, 1, go, and I'm just like standing in place, 1080, 1080, 1080, 1080. I was like, all right, I think I'm done with
You're
this
pretty
game
good at
now.
that, huh?
I think, uh, but also some notes on Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. They're not going to support any kind of transfer of Pokemon, which I think is a kind of a miss.
Hmm.
Who knows if they'll add that stuff? I mean, they have that like Pokemon Bank stuff. They have ways that they can do it.
Really?
They're just not. So there's a lot of kind of pushback on that from the community. It seems like
Hmm.
because that was a big part of the original N64 games with the transfer pack. You put your game in, play with your
Right.
Pokemon and stuff. So it'll
There's
be
a way
interesting to
you could
see.
actually play your Game Boy cartridge like on like a TV screen in Pokemon Stadium, wasn't there?
Uh, I think I can't remember if it treated it like a Super Game Boy or not. Somebody out there remembers. Tell us.
I'll be honest with you, this list isn't very exciting for me, aside from 1080. And based on your recommendation, I'll check out Excitebike 64. But I'm not a Mario Party fan, and I'm not a Pokemon fan. So really, there's not a whole lot on this list that I'm getting excited about.
I mean, if you can play Mario Party online with friends, I think that's a pretty big
That's
win.
true. That's a good
But
point.
a lot of those maps have been brought forward to the Switch Mario Party games too.
Oh, really?
So we'll see if a lot of people play that stuff. Pilot Wings, if you haven't played Pilot Wings 64, it's another one of those like must play at some point. Game. It's a bunch of mini games and stuff, but they're enjoyable. They're simple to learn, hard to master kind of games. And next piece I thought was pretty dope. So a creator called Funky Zeit, maybe German. Funky Zeit Games creates a Super Mario Unreal Engine concept. So there's like a
This looks so good.
yeah, his YouTube channel Funky Zeit Games, Zeit. I don't know how to pronounce that. There's like a minute and a half trailer of like the OG Super Mario Brothers, but you're behind Mario, similar to Mario 64, and it's an Unreal Engine, and the effects look incredible.
It looks like a modern AAA game running on modern high-end hardware. It
Right.
looks awesome.
It also looks dark as shit because he's got
Yes,
like
it
blood
does.
all over him, and
Yeah. Clearly not Nintendo, yeah.
just really dark. Like Mario's gone off the deep end. They killed his girl, you know, Peach, and they murdered his brother Luigi, and he's out for vengeance. Like that's that's kind of what it looks like. He's like snapping necks and throwing
Y
fire at people and burning them alive.
Burning them alive, yeah. This is phenomenal. I would absolutely play this game.
Yes, 100%.
It makes you wonder, like, if Nintendo had decided to keep competing in, like, the high end, like,
Sure.
what would their games look like now? Because, honestly, they do a phenomenal job with the Switch, and it's, you know, severely aging hardware, but the games are
Right.
still fun that they make. So, like, most people don't seem to get too upset about it. But imagine what they could be doing, what they could be producing in the Zelda universe, in the Mario universe, in all their like franchises, Metroid, if they were developing for hardware that was competitive with like the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5. Like what
I, yeah, I think in 10 to 15 years we'll start seeing games with this style
this
of
level of detail from Nintendo.
we'll see what X I mean, at this point, how much more like we always say this, right? Like every major generation, I feel like we say this kind of stuff. Like how much better can it possibly get? Realistically, like the amount of change from generation to generation, I feel like it's smaller and smaller and
Yeah,
smaller quality wise. Like, they
yeah.
started adding all the RTX stuff and the ray tracing and things, which is really cool. But
This is why when people say the PS3 is retro, I'm like, how can it be retro? The same games are like, it's just like slightly lower res version of the games we're playing now.
right, good point. But I mean, 10 to 15 years, it's probably only going to be like one or two generations away.
Yeah,
Then maybe Nintendo will catch up to where we are now.
yeah, right.
I don't know.
I
Looks
mean,
dope.
look, I love my Switch. I'm not gonna lie. I
Sure.
really do like
I
it.
do
I
too.
think I think the Switch OLED in particular is like wildly overpriced for the speed of the hardware that you're getting, but you're definitely playing a Nintendo Tax to play the Nintendo games. And the games are good. The games are phenomenal. And
They're masters of that for sure.
did you see that new Zelda Tears of the Kingdom trailer?
I haven't seen the trailer. I did see that it's like the Breath of the Wild uh, successor.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I mean, Zelda's
I
one of my
wanted to
favorite
like
franchises.
I wanted to like Breath of the Wild. I just
Didn't like it.
I have a hard time with open world style games.
Sure.
I just get kind of lost and frustrated and don't know where
Yeah.
to go, and then I kind of put it down. I played it for a few hours, and then I was like, ugh.
I really like it, but I really didn't like the dungeons, the way they did dungeons with those like kind of like big beasts. Like they just weren't very satisfying to me. And the it's a common complaint about that game, but the way the weapons would break while
Mhm,
you're using them really kind
mhm,
of drove me nuts.
for sure.
I don't know. I am. It did a lot right though. Like every inch of that game was just chock full of stuff to discover.
Sure.
Like it looked phenomenal on the Switch. It controlled really well. It rewarded exploration in a way that I don't think I've ever seen. Maybe I think Elden Ring probably is its equal, and that's it. You know,
It's
it
funny.
was
My
phenomenal.
wife really enjoyed Breath of the Wild, and
Yeah,
she's not really a gamer,
yeah.
but she took her time with it. She never ended up beating it. She got to like Ganon. She's around
Oh,
the end and just never got it done for some reason. Anyways, next story. Disney is remastering the Genesis Gargoyles game. It's just been announced, and no like date or systems announced. I imagine it's gonna come out on Switch and maybe PlayStation and Xbox. Who knows? But Gargoyles was it was a really good. I feel like underappreciated, not necessarily underappreciated, but not very often talked about game. Kind of adventure fighting type platformer, kind of like the original like Batman games and stuff. That style of play, but just I don't know. It was quite good.
I don't think
I
I
don't know
ever
if
played it.
there's some video on here of the original game.
Yeah, it looks nice. Looks really nice.
A lot of the old Genesis and Super Nintendo like Disney games were all really good, and this was in that
I actually didn't
style.
know that Gargoyles was a Disney property. Honestly,
I mean,
I
when was
guess
the
I
last
should have
time we
known.
saw anything Gargoyles related?
I mean, the '90s definitely.
Yeah, so keep our eyes on that and see when they end up doing it. I
My
They're
computer just
saying that it's
does weird
basically going to
stuff.
be kind of like the Aladdin, Lion King, Jungle Book, Disney game release type stuff. So it's going to be in that style. Everdrive stuff is coming back on the market for purchase.
That makes me very happy.
So like the Mega Drive, the Everdrive Mega Drive. Yeah, I mean they're expensive. They're like $250, but
There's a lot in there though. I mean, those basically run FPGAs to emulate all those mapper chips on the different
mhm,
cartridges that would modify, like especially with the NES and the Super Nintendo. Like you can't play the game unless you have those mapper chips.
right.
The
And I saw a
reason
lot
they
of
were off the market for a while was because Crix is from Ukraine. That business was run out of Ukraine, uh, and
I
there's
was going to say
war.
a lot of people were expressing their gratitude that he was okay, and got out of whatever. So I don't know the full story, but he had to evacuate essentially when it
Yeah,
was at its worst. It was like what 6 months ago. I don't know how long it's been.
yeah. Wow, how long has it been? When did that first start? Was it January, February?
I just feel like it's still going. Like yeah, so it's just tough.
Yeah,
But for people that have been waiting on the EverDrive things to come back, they're slowly, I think, starting to re-release that stuff. So keep your eyes out.
those are high
Uh
quality. They work with the Analog Pocket as well.
oh, I heard mixed things about the Analog Pocket with those.
I think early on there were some issues. I think
Okay, they fixed them.
they were now that now that you can just put ROMs directly on the Analog Pocket.
Sure, it's true.
What are we doing here? Why do we need
Yeah.
why do we need a third party device?
Any update on your Analog Pocket, by the way?
Zero updates from analog on my analog pocket. I believe when I ordered it last like November or December, I was expecting it around Christmas time of 2022.
We'll see.
Yeah,
They do the thing too where they don't say anything and then all of a sudden it's like, "It shipped."
yeah, it shipped yesterday. Oh, cool.
Or you receive it or you receive it and then you get a shipped email.
Yes. They also don't respond to emails. They don't respond to tweets. They not real responsive to
Yeah.
customer inquiries. So
Yep. But usually they don't just take your money and run, fortunately. So
so far, I've
they
bought a bunch of
could
stuff from them. It's
yeah.
been expensive stuff, but
Did you ever play Octopath Traveler? The kind of like retro
no,
style? No.
I love the look of it, but I read reviews on it and it just didn't appeal to me. The what was going on with the reviews.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of an older style RPG, but
Yeah,
it's really I think it was one of the first games of that HD retro style, and I'm just
yeah,
really thankful that a lot of games are doing that kind of thing. But Octopath Traveler 2 was announced for February 2023, which it's not a retro game, but I figured since it's, retro style that it kind of
yeah. It
applied more.
certainly adopts the 16-bit kind of aesthetic and brings it into I don't know, modern world with kind of that 3D tilt shift look.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. It's like now Square Enix is taking that look that they developed with that game and using it. It didn't live alive.
Live Alive,
Use
yeah.
that.
Yes.
Have you played that yet?
I haven't. It's sitting on my
Yeah,
shelf. I haven't played it yet. I've heard such good
same.
things. Yeah.
I own it. I have not yet played
Maybe
it.
I'll play it on my way down to TwitchCon in a couple of
Ah,
weeks.
perfect. I think there's a
Um,
couple more games coming out with that art
by the
style. So,
way, I don't
Triangle Strategy had it too. I think.
yeah. Well, and it's funny, somebody put all of the logos of those games back to back to back to back, and there's like 4 games, Octopath Traveler, Live Alive, or maybe not Live Alive, Triangle Strategy, and 2 other ones that have the exact same font, the game name, with the exact same, like, lines underneath the font. It looks like somebody just copied and pasted and put different letters with the same font. That's funny. Somebody tweeted
I
like, "Is the designer of this okay?"
I mean, look, you got something that works. You just keep using it. You know, people got to make
Speaking
a
of
living. They got to eat.
spe It's true. Speaking of cons, I don't know if I told you the Portland Retro Expo is the weekend after TwitchCon. I don't know if you
Oh,
were ever even considering it, Briar.
coming to
Uh,
TwitchCon?
October no, the Portland Retro Expo, October 14th through the 16th.
No, I was not considering it because I didn't know about it.
I had mentioned it. We had actually talked about it on the show
Oh,
months
my
ago
bad.
when they when they announced it was actually coming back. And I'm gonna go. But it is the weekend after TwitchCon, so I'm gonna be like gone for 4 nights and then come back and then 4 days later. I mean,
Nice.
I live in Portland, so I'm probably just gonna drive there in the morning and
Yeah,
check it out. I'm gonna try to
spend the day there.
limit myself to a certain amount of money to spend.
Yeah.
Uh, they
What's that?
had
What's that amount?
I don't know yet. I'll have to figure it out. I have some cash. Maybe I'll just use that. But I think I told you, or did I tell you that at PAX they had like one retro vendor that had a bunch of complete in box games
Yes.
that I was like salivating, and then I looked at the prices and I was like, nope.
Yeah. Hard pass.
Yeah, but yeah. Uh, Kirby Return to Dreamland, which is a Wii title, is getting a deluxe version coming to the Switch in February of 2023. And they're
Okay.
like up-resing it. They're adding some new features, some new like attack mechanisms and things like that. The
Really?
trailer looked pretty good. I didn't put that here for some reason, but Return to Dreamland for a long time for the Wii was a hard to get kind of rare, expensive game. Like it was
Really?
60 to $80 complete like 10 years later. This is
Oh,
wild. Yeah. So keep our eyes on that. Lots of Kirby in Nintendo recently, and there hadn't been for a while. I feel like there was like what one Wii U game, couple of 3DS or a 3DS game. I guess Kirby's been pretty relevant. They didn't like ignore him. Briar's not the biggest Kirby fan, I don't think. It's like
it's just
kid
not my
kid
thing.
friendly family games.
You enjoy it if you want it to. It's fine. I mean, it's just my thing.
You don't like big pink fleshy balls,
When you
Briar?
put it like that, it seems way more interesting.
Just put a
Like,
giant seam down the middle of Kirby.
you have my attention.
I know how to get to your heartstrings, Briar.
I was actually when we did Kirby, the first Kirby game for the NES for the
Yeah,
show. I was actually
Dreamland.
disappointed I didn't like it more. Like everything about it was good, like high quality. It just didn't capture me, you know.
Yeah. Well, that
What can you
wasn't
do?
Kirby. That was Kirby's Adventure, not Dreamland. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
The first NES game, right?
one of the few really well done NES games that wasn't impossibly difficult.
Yes, it definitely was not impossibly difficult. It was everything about it was good, and I could recognize it. It just
It was
wasn't my jam.
whimsical.
Yeah,
Briar's not a fan of whimsy.
that's right. I don't like fun. Fuck you and your fun stuff.
Boy. So I just added this as the podcast was going live. I was like, I should check and see if there's any news from today. Sega teases the new Sonic Prime Netflix series with a little like 1 minute trailer, and it kind of shows the voice of Sonic, which isn't horrible in my opinion. I don't know when this is coming out. There's a new 24 episode Sonic show.
Wow,
It says dropping in December.
so this is an
So
animated series.
correct.
Nothing
And
to do with the current movies.
it kind of looks to be in the style of that new Switch game that's coming out that had some controversy around its style.
This looks way better than that. This looks
Yeah,
like it takes place in
sure. It's more
like
colorful.
Sonic's. Yeah, and it's got
Yeah, yeah,
like the Earth has like pixelated like blocks as opposed to just being like straight out of Skyrim.
yeah. It's true.
This looks way better than that.
My
I'm not
my
gonna
son's
watch it,
gonna be
but
all
it
about
looks
it.
good.
My son will be all about it. He loves
Good.
the new
The new Sonic movies.
Sonic movies. Yeah, and
What
the
do you think of the
beginning of
second one?
the beginning of the second one is funny because Jim Carrey's character Robotnik, as he's getting off, spoilers, he gets off the mushroom planet. Uh, as he's getting off of it, he goes, "Get me off of this shiitake mushroom planet." Shiitake and every time I hear it, I'm like, is my son gonna pick up on what's happening here or not?
Shiitake. That was
Instead
that
of
was a little
shit.
throwing one in for the old folks, you know, for the
Yeah, yeah,
parents.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. Anyways, he does. He enjoys it. Yeah, the second Sonic movie has Knuckles in it. And the third Sonic movie is gonna have Shadow in it, which in our era, there was no Shadow.
No,
So it wasn't until like what, probably GameCube era that they brought in
really.
Shadow. Or like Dreamcast era.
I had pretty much checked out by Sonic 3.
Yeah. Well,
Sonic and
they had
Knuckles.
Sonic and Knuckles for the Genesis too, so Knuckles was relevant, but not
Yeah,
Shadow.
but I had pretty much already checked out.
Fair enough. You were like 32 by then, right?
That's right. I was not fooled by the blast processing.
But it looks interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll probably end up watching it with my kiddo. Gradius. How do you say
Gradius.
it?
I'm gonna say Gradius.
I'll say Gradius. All right.
Gradius. You like Gradius better?
I don't know. I'm just want to be different than you.
Just want a tomato it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just gonna say it different every time I say it. How about
yeah.
that?
Perfect. Yeah.
What'd you think?
Gradius.
What'd you think? Have you played this game before? Have you put any time into this game
I'm pretty
before?
sure I'd played it, but it'd been a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really good. It's one of those like simple to learn, very difficult to master. And like a
Yeah.
lot of the reviews are like, this is one of the hardest NES games that exist behind
Wow,
like
really?
Contra and stuff. So um it definitely fit the bill. You end up like it's one of those games where you get touched once and you're dead
Yes.
by anything, whether it's like a bullet, another ship,
Yeah.
the mountains and shit that are popping out of the architecture and things like that. It's really difficult, but
It
also
is. It's
very
memorization,
satisfying.
right? It's like you have to memorize this game.
Yeah. Well, at least where the enemies are coming from because the bullets can be completely random. It's kind
Mhm.
of like a semi
True.
pseudo bullet hell type game.
This is this to me is a game worth playing for the historical, like just to see what it looked like, to see where where this genre its roots lay. But I can't say that I'm gonna go back to this game for enjoyment's sake. If
It
that
is
makes
on the
sense.
Nintendo Switch Online service, by the
Is
way.
it on the online
If
Switch?
you have, yeah, the
I wish I
$20
had
one.
played it there. I actually played it on the Mister. It it's cool to see it, and I think it's an impressive game. It's a pretty early NES game too.
1986, yeah, it was
Yeah,
the first Konami game in the US.
yeah. Like so, historically, I think it's like more important than it is fun to play for me. Like
Sure.
like if I want to play a shooter, I'd rather go into the 16-bit era where things get they get a little more colorful. They get a little more crazy with the weapons. Like there's just kind of more going on. I don't feel like I feel like shooters started hard and stayed hard. Like the shooters, it's just a genre that difficulty seems to be the norm, right?
Yes. The
Um,
challenge for sure.
but I enjoyed playing it again. I had not played it either since the NES was like the console that was relevant. I think like I really had not like really interacted with this game since then. I didn't even know there was a Gradius 2 and 3. Honestly,
Yeah, 3 is on the SNES. I'm trying to think of what 2 is on.
was 3 an early release for the SNES?
That's a good question, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Like it's hard. It's hard for me to talk about this game because so much. Also, one of my best friends owned this game, so a lot of it is nostalgia. Sitting there trying to beat it with him, and we'd take turns, and we never got very far, to be honest with you, because it's a difficult game, and you have to just memorize it, and you can't make any mistakes because, like you said, you take one shot and you're done.
Right.
It's a tough game. It,
Gra
it
Gradius 3 came out in '89, but it came out on SNES in '91, so yeah, really early.
89 was in the arcade.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 91. It must have been almost like a launch game.
Yeah, it was real early. But it is thought to be one of the better games, of that era.
Gradius 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
what
I don't know what to think about this game, honestly. Like I was glad to go back to it for nostalgia reasons and to see like where this genre kind of had its roots. But I don't think I actually enjoy this game like for itself. Does that make sense?
Sure. Did you try the Konami code?
No, I did not. Do you get 30
So
lives?
no, so if you do, and I noticed that it only really works in the beginning. So as you start playing, you have to hit start and then up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, and it gives you all of the power-ups.
Oh, okay.
Um, which it's like it does, I think it probably does. Except I don't think it gives you extra speed, but it does like everything else. And so you just start playing and it's just like it's covering the entire screen with bullets. So you just kind of have to sit there. And I noticed that you can continuously get faster and faster and faster speed. Like you can keep doing the faster speed. I got to a point where I would barely touch the control pad and it would like go the entire screen length almost.
Oh, really?
It's wild how fast it starts going. Like it's
Yeah, you
too
get
fast.
almost too
Like
fast where you
yeah,
start
you
bumping
can't
into
really
shit by
control it.
accident. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But if you die, you can't, like, hit start and do the code again, so you get to the 2nd or 3rd level and you're fucked because you're like, "I can't do anything right now."
That's the other thing. Is like I feel like if you die, you're at such a significant disadvantage because you lose
Yeah,
your power ups that it's like well, you might as well just start the level over again. If you're learning the game, you keep going just to like kind of get the memory of like because you just got to remember wherever all the enemies are coming from and their patterns and everything. But yeah, it's like it's such a significant penalty to die that it almost feels not worth it to keep going.
yeah. For gamers of shmups, if you haven't played Gradius, I would say it's definitely worth sinking some time into, for folks that like
Yeah,
that challenge. And it
yeah,
was one of
for
the
sure.
first or it was the first game that had the power up bar, like, as a thing, and then you can, like,
Really?
choose which power-ups you want. At least at the bottom are kind of like each time you pick up a power-up, it shows you it I don't really like that system. I prefer to be able to, like, choose my power-up instead of like having to get 6 power-ups to get a better weapon.
Okay.
Um, Personal preference, but I don't know. It makes sense why it's that way. It Like I said, it is available on Nintendo Switch Online if you have it. Um, it was originally released in the arcade, and it was called Nemesis. And
Really?
then there's a Game Boy game called Nemesis, which is like the port of the NES game, but when it came to the NES, it's called Gradius.
So, did a game called Gradius never show up in American arcades?
I Well, in American arcades, yes,
Okay.
I think.
I
Good
wouldn't know.
question.
I mean, I was too young to know.
It's kind of complicated because like it originally Konami's first game ever was Scramble. And this originally was supposed to be a successor to that, and so the working title was Scramble 2. And then they changed like the overseas name to Nemesis, but then they called it Gradius in the US. But then they did Nemesis for the Game Boy. It's like
Why did they
weird.
always change names like that? Like,
I don't know.
uh, so weird.
Yeah. So there's actually a Gradius Interstellar game for the Game Boy that is not the same as this. That's like Gradius 2, I believe, for
Okay.
the Game Boy, which I own that one. I don't own the Nemesis one, which is like the old school Gradius. It's kind of dumbed down for Game Boy. I don't know.
Mhm.
But there's a lot. There's a lot of Gradius games. Like there's a few for PlayStation 2.
I can't imagine trying to play this on a Game Boy with like that blurry fucking screen, like trying to track bullets and
True.
enemies.
I think it's considerably easier, you
I would
know.
hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be hard.
Some of the inspiration came from Star Wars A New Hope and Lensman, which I don't know anything about Lensman. Do you know about that?
No, I've never heard of that.
Okay, so they said that like one very specific thing came from Lensman. They're both movies. Star Wars, obviously everybody knows New Hope and stuff, which makes sense because there's a lot of kind of I just like I akin the mountains and kind of the dune type structures and stuff, kind of Star Wars esque. You think about the dirts and the deserts and all that kind of the deserts and dirt and all that kind of stuff. Mountains that spit rocks at you and stuff. It was weird. They did say that the US version is more difficult than the European and Japanese versions, which is odd to me, but they included continues, which they didn't include in the other ones. And the coin op arcade version, the one that came out first in Japan, was such a success that rumor had it that there was a coin shortage in Japan specifically because of this game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Got any of them there quarters?
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Uh I'm trying to make sense of it because after playing it, it says in one of the notes, it says in the arcade game, players could choose up to 4 options, but due to
Okay.
technical limitations of the NES, you can only have 2. Is
The
that like
options are
simultaneous?
those like ships that kind of go on the side of your ships. They call them options.
Okay, okay.
Like the yeah.
The little helper guys,
Yeah, yeah.
the mini-me's. You could have 4 of them in the arcade, but only
Wow.
2 on the NES.
I'd be interested to check out the arcade version of this. I bet it's on MAME, right? Uh,
It's gotta be.
Yeah, it's gotta be. That'd
Report
be
back, let
interesting to
us know how
check
it
out.
is. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was
I gotta love hate relationship with shooters in general, and this one I don't know. Like again, like interesting to go back to, but I don't know that I'd actually put the time in to try and beat it like I have with some of the games we've had on here.
sure. We haven't done a lot of shooters, but I figured this one was one of the first. It was one of like the original, especially console
For sure.
shooters, and just kind of see where we've come from there.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I mean, it's like from a design standpoint, I feel like it's really solid. None of it did I
Yeah.
really feel like, man, modern shmups are so much better than this original one. Like it's not that extreme.
No, it's not. I would agree with you. I think maybe the eye candy has gone up
Sure.
exponentially, but the basics are all here.
Hmm. Yeah,
Is that it for Gradius?
I think so. Short.
Wait, so like, what did you think of the game? Like,
I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
There wasn't other than how difficult it is. Obviously, it's like, okay, if I'm trying to beat this, it's going to be very frustrating for me. But I
yeah,
was just trying to experience it as far as like, the different options, trying the different power-ups, like all that
yeah,
stuff. It was enjoyable. It felt the maneuverability and all that kind of stuff felt solid. I didn't
yeah,
none of the frustrations other than some of the things that we talked about a minute ago, but it just felt like a really solid shooter for those that enjoy that. Just really difficult and really unforgiving.
yeah. It would be interesting to try and beat this game, like to try and like really sit down with it for because I think it would take me a couple weeks to like really just like
Yeah, I
memorize
think I
each
would get
level.
frustrated trying to do that. I was just trying to
Yeah,
enjoy it as opposed to force myself to get to a certain point.
right. Yeah. Hmm. I did pick a game for next week. I
Okay.
picked this game.
Did you end up getting a Gradius cart?
No, I didn't. No, I kept meaning to go to my local game shop and just like see if they have one.
Hmm.
Honestly, I was just busy
Short
all
week.
week.
Yeah.
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 So I just played it on the Mister. Um, for next week, because I just saw that this game was released on the Nintendo Switch Online Pass, so it's available on Switch.
Hmm.
It's a Genesis game, but there's also a Super Nintendo version of it. So I'm going to leave it up to you to pick which one we play, and it's Earthworm Jim.
Okay. The first one.
Yes, the first game,
I
Earthworm
do
Jim
have the Super
1.
Nintendo
Okay,
Earthworm
you
Jim.
want to play that one instead of the Genesis one?
You can play the Genesis. I can't imagine they're that different for a game like this.
I don't think they're that different. I think there are differences, there's subtle differences, but I think essentially like overall they're the same game.
So
But I'm not positive, honestly. It's been a long time.
it's available. The Genesis version's available on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Yes.
I'll check out both. I'll check out
Okay.
both.
And then there is a Sega CD version as well, but I think that one only it had one extra level
The
and
special
like
edition
this
one.
the
Yeah.
soundtrack was like Red Book audio as opposed to chip tunes.
If I remember correctly, that one is ridiculously expensive. Yeah, it's $400 for a complete copy. I think I had it in my possession at one point, like
I think I owned it when I was a kid.
8 or 9 years ago. Yeah, and then I sold it. But, yep,
But yeah,
cool.
Earthworm
I'm
Jim, if you'd
excited.
like to play along with us for next week, that's the game we'll be talking about.
It'll be a good one.
I'm interested because this game I thought was phenomenal when I was a kid,
Mhm.
but I have heard some things that people don't look that kindly on it anymore. So I'm wondering, like, how it holds up these days.
Sure. Had a lot of the, like, toilet humor type stuff that we loved as teenagers, so
Yeah, that
good.
that '90s dude that was so popular.
Rose-colored glasses, we'll have to see.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoyed it too. That was that's my first impression of this is that I never beat it,
I don't
but,
think I did either.
I don't know why. I think it starts to ramp up pretty difficult towards the
I do
end.
remember it being difficult because you have two weapons, right? You have a gun that doesn't do anything, and then you can like pull your head out of your suit and like use it as a whip,
Mhm.
and that seems to do the damage, right?
Sure.
All right. Well, we'll see.
We'll have to see.
We'll get it.
Cool. Awesome.
The next episode is 2 weeks away, so you'll have to wait for that one. Anything else you want to go over, Jay? Oh, pickups. What did you get for pickups?
Goose egg.
Diddly squat.
Goose
Okay.
egg. I mean, it was 1 week. It's been a busy week. Yeah. I mean, I already had Gradius, which we showed on
Yeah.
the screen last week as well. I do have the Earthworm Jim box, but I'd have to go hunt for it.
Earthworm Jim. I'm gonna have to look and see. Like I know the Super Nintendo version was different in certain ways, but I'm not sure why. But
I'll have
it's
to
not.
come
I don't
back.
think it's anything near like how Aladdin is a different game that looks similar. You know, but I'm pretty sure it's different.
I think Limited Run did a Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 like collection
Oh,
thing
really?
too. Yeah. Seems like it's kind of difficult to come by.
I thought it'd be good to do one that's available on the Switch. It's easy to play modern
Right.
on a
That's a
modern
good
console.
point.
It's really fun, I think, to play retro games on like handheld consoles because they just kind of work really well in that form factor.
Yeah, there's lots
That's
of
why I
different.
can't wait to get an analog pocket. But
They still haven't come out with a good like protector skin type thing for the pocket yet.
you're gonna have to
I'm
make it.
amazed.
You're just gonna have to make it.
I'm
You're gonna have
not
to
that
design it.
handy. Like it just feels like it needs something. It's just like a phone case, just
Yeah. It.
bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, it shouldn't be so hard to get. So it's only like a $200 device. It's not like a phone is $1,000 device. So I put my phone in a protector because if I were to break it, it's a significant financial commitment.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you break your analog pocket, it's a significant time investment
Yeah.
to get another one.
Yeah.
All right, Jay. Anything else you want to talk about today?
No.
All right.
I will be at TwitchCon. We'll have another episode before then, but I'll be at TwitchCon. I should be at the Portland Retro Expo. Maybe I can convince Briar to make the trip out here to Portland. I'm sure that'd be fun. But if not, I am live 5 nights a week at twitch.tv/JSniperton. And we do have a Twitter at the RetroSlot that does updates and stuff for the podcast. So check it out. Also check us out on YouTube on the DCP channel.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.